Web servers and servers in general are prone to breakage just like any other machine. Troubleshooting a web server could involve lots of different variables. We won't discuss a specific troubleshooting scenario in this lesson, but we'll talk about some easy troubleshooting tools you can use to diagnose a faulty web server or browser, called HTTP status codes. When we want to go to google.com, our browser is sending an HTTP request to the HTTP server on the web server. In turn, we get an HTTP response. Sometimes this response returns the content that we want. Almost all the time, it will return a status message of the response. HTTP status codes are codes or numbers that indicate some sort of error or info messages that occurred when trying to access a web resource. Knowing common HTTP status code comes in handy when you're troubleshooting a website error. They'll usually tell you useful information that can help you isolate the root cause. Here's a common HTTP status code you might recognize: the dreaded 404 not found. A 404 error indicates that the URL you entered doesn't point to anything. Let's see what happens if I type in google.com/ASDF. Let's type that in. I get this error message: the requested URL/ASDF was not found on this server. That's exactly what I expected to happen. I typed in an address I knew didn't exist and the web server confirmed it for me. But how do we know it's a 404 error code? Depending on the website, HTTP error messages could be displayed right on the page when you try to access it. However, to be absolutely sure, you can just view the HTTP response itself. To do that, we'll have to do a bit of work. Browsers today have built-in tools that help people diagnose issues with the web browser or website itself. Since I'm using Chrome, I'm going to use the Chrome Developer Tools. Let me go ahead and do that. So I want to click on this, I get into Tools, and then click on Developer Tools. This will open up the Developer Tools side by side to my web browser. Developer Tools is a great resource for testing and debugging issues with the website or browser. We won't go through this tool though. If you want to learn more, you can check out the supplemental reading. For now, we just want to see the HTTP response code. To get to that, I'm going to go to the Network tab here and refresh my page. If I try to go to google.com/ASDF, I'll see the request I made in the left-hand side here. If I click that, I'll see the status code says 404 not found. Pretty neat, right? HTTP status codes that start with 4XX indicate an issue on the client side. The client tried to do something that it couldn't, like enter a bad URL, access something it wasn't authorized to do, etc. The other common HTTP status codes that you might see start with 5XX. These errors indicate an issue on the server side. The web server that hosts this web content is experiencing issues, and hopefully their server administrators are looking into it. HTTP status codes tell us more than just errors. They can also tell us when our request is successful, which is denoted by the codes that begin with 2XX. HTTP status codes can tell us a lot about an issue with the website. If you encounter one that you aren't familiar with, just look it up. It'll probably tell you exactly what the issue is. For a list of HTTP status codes, take a look at the supplemental reading.